Every Tuesday, we talk about, importance, we have conversations around bettering yourself and also your career and your life and all that. Anything that is disturbing you, this is where we have that particular conversation where you can actually be motivated to move forward. You understand? Now, today, our conversation is around self-confidence. Why is it important? We are going to get into that as we continue with this conversation. My guest in studio is Sianto. Thank you so much for joining us here on set. And she's a life coach, I believe.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, exactly. So she's the right person to have this conversation with, and exactly how you can build your self-confidence. You're going to have this conversation for the next 1 hour. So don't go too far, rather just stick there so that you can actually get a thing or two from this conversation. And by the end of the day, I hope if you're struggling with matters confidence, you'll have built your confidence or, learned a thing or two on how to go through the process of building that, right?
Yes,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Now, Sianto, people who are watching this particular show would like to understand exactly who you are and what you do. Let's start from there first.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Sianto Kekayaya, and I love God. I love people. I practice to be more kind, more generous, and just be compassionate, and also just strive to have an impact on humanity. Yes.
You say more tolerant?
Compassionate.
More compassionate.
Yes, I'm more compassionate. That is who I am. In regards to what I do, I help individuals who feel like, they're not good enough in who they are and in what they do to gain confidence, and that will give them power to become their best selves so that they can create their best future or their best life.
Now that is very important because at this particular time and in this season and probably this generation, a lot of people are struggling with that, having self-confidence, believing that they can do it, always looking for people to gas them up. But at the end of the day, if you don't believe it you believe it yourself to some extent, even when people tell you you're good, it might not actually, help you feel good about yourself because at the end of the day, it is you that needs to actually start believing it. Let's start from why it is important to have this conversation on self-confidence from where you sit.
Yes. So now it is important to understand what self-confidence is, because if you can actually just from the name, it is self. It is about you. It is how you feel about yourself. So actually you can look at it from two perspectives, from the self-esteem part, which is the feeling of confidence, and also from the self-efficacy part, which is the part of being able to do something. Like, for example, being able to do your job. Like for you nowadays, you are here, being able to conduct this interview very well. So that is what you call self-efficacy. So self-confidence, it is when you look at both self-esteem and self-efficacy. Now, most of us, we look at self-esteem most of the time, which is how you love yourself. Do you matter? Do you feel like you matter? Do you feel that you're valuable? And we forget the other part of your abilities, because you can really feel like I'm valuable, I'm worthy, but are you competent enough? Do you believe that you have the abilities to do what you're supposed to do? So for you to be able to get that holistic, confidence within yourself, you have to work on both sides, the self-esteem and the self-efficacy.
So self-efficacy and self-esteem have to go hand in hand. You can't just have one alone.
Absolutely.
And I think we focus more on self-esteem, just like you put it.
We do. And it's because it's not like we don't want to work on it. It's just that we are not aware that confidence involves those two aspects. So you find that people really just work on self-esteem and they leave the other part, such that you find yourself, you ask yourself, but I've worked on my self-esteem. I feel worthy. Why is it that when I'm told to do a certain particular task, I feel like I'm not able, I feel like my confidence is a bit low? It's because we have not worked on that other aspect.
Now, the more you speak, I think you're addressing me. Are you addressing me? Because it is one thing to be very confident and say my self-esteem is, I have enough self-esteem. I believe I can do it. But the moment somebody trusts you to do it, and that's, you start doubting yourself. You're like, hey, can I really actually make it? Can I ace it? Will I ace it? And things like that. You start having self-doubt again. And yet, when it comes to self-esteem, you're like, my esteem is high. I believe I can. But when you get to that, you don't believe in your ability anymore. Why do we have that kind of disconnect?
Absolutely. No, that one is just very clear because the self-awareness is low. People who have high self-awareness, they know that when it comes to confidence, I need to feel valuable. I need to be able to feel that I can carry on this task competently. So we are talking about your self-awareness. Are you aware of who you are? How are your levels, you know? So there's a check that you have to do as an individual for you to be able to know that you have to balance how you feel and your capabilities.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about the self-esteem and how when we look at ourselves and say, by the way, I don't feel like I have issues with esteem, because that's a conversation people do have.
Yes.
You look at somebody and say, probably they have esteem issues.
Yes.
What are we looking at and saying, Sianto or Amuai or Mary somewhere, they have an issue with self-esteem?
Yes. Now, the manifestations of low self-esteem, they're very common. And even for me, sometimes I go through them. As much as I'm a confidence coach, it's a normal part of being a human being. So you'll find that you fear expressing yourself. Like, for example, if you've been called to go and do a presentation, like now here, you'll feel like, you know, I'm not worthy, I'm not able to do that. You start getting worried, you start getting anxious, your heart starts pumping, you start shaking, and you know.
And even have
all that.
The stomach probably.
Yes, all
You're very
that.
restless and things like that.
Yes, and even in meetings, you find that you have a very good opinion, but because you know yourself that once you start speaking, they're called physiological responses. They start coming up. You start shaking. Even some people, they lose words. They can't talk anymore. Yeah. Yes.
I understand that, because I'm trying to relate, because I have had those particular experiences where I know I have the content, but the moment I step on that particular stage to now talk about it, there's anxiety all over. You are shaking, your hands are shaking, you feel like probably you're sick, you want to throw up and things like that.
Yes.
So those are some of the things you look at and say, by the way, I have an issue here.
Yes. So there's that one. And also there's an issue of feeling timid, whereby you shrink to let other people shine. That one now we call you're being a people pleaser. You know your potential, but because you want other people to love you, don't. You know, sometimes when you are a competition, people really will not love you. So what you do, you shrink your potential and you let another person shine, so that you are branded as this good person.
Wow.
So I'm pleasing you. I'm pleasing my colleagues. Yeah.
Is it a bad thing?
Oh, yes, because look at it this way. You're with your colleagues, for example, in a meeting, and the bosses are there. You have a very good point, but you don't want to say it. You shrink, you keep quiet. Another colleague of yours raises the same point, and the bosses, when it comes to promotion, who is going to be promoted?
Them.
Yes. So you lose out on your promotions.
Wow. Okay, now this is the thing also. You could have, probably you are in a situation where when it comes to speaking up, you can't do it, probably in a meeting. Then you give your colleague that particular point. Then they raise it on your behalf, but don't give you credit. And when it comes to credit, you know, going to the person that has raised, probably it was a good point and things like that, it goes to them. What happens to you? Why would you trust people like that? And you know,
no, that should not actually happen. Why should you give your idea to someone else to speak on your behalf? And you can be able to do that. So there's that, you become timid, you shrink so that other people shine. And also there's this issue of procrastination. Yeah, so for example, you have a project that you're supposed to work on. Because you don't believe that, you know, you're able to do, your project is of standard, instead of just, you know, being able to know that I've reached to a point where it's ready to go to maybe to your boss, or for people to be able to see it, you sit on it, deadlines, they pass, you're still with it. And of course, now you're branded as that person who doesn't.
Is it a non-starter?
Yes. So you just keep on putting your work on the shelf.
We have so much things that a list of things that we need to do, but we have kept it somewhere because we probably don't want to explore it. And also there's this point where you look like, you feel like if I go through with this one, then people start comparing me with so-and-so. And if there's that comparison, mine might actually, say, oh, probably alikopi huku, ama si mzuri kama ya nani. What happens to that? Because I think a lot of people also deal with that.
Yeah, actually that is an issue of comparison. Yeah, and it is sometimes it's not bad because if you're comparing maybe yourself from someone who is ahead of you in terms of experience, it is good because now you're modeling good skills.
Okay.
Yeah, but if for you, you feel that your work is not of standard when you compare yourself with someone else, and then you keep it, you don't take it to the world to see, then you are saying your self-confidence or your self-esteem is really holding you from coming out and showing people what you have. Yeah. So what I normally tell my clients is that you start, build, if it's your business, you start. If it's work, do the project until when you've reached a point whereby you've, at least you know that there's value in it. Don't keep on staying with it. Don't keep on refining it. Just push it out. Push it out, because people will always talk, yeah, whether it's good or bad. So what if you push it out and it's something good and it has an impact on someone?
That belief of actually it could, because why do we have that fear that, you know, like you say, it could have, people will always talk.
Yeah.
It could have a positive impact, people will love it, but also the doubt that it might go out there and people might not love it, and, you know, it comes back to me in terms of in a negative way. I don't want to do that.
I know. So that is a fear of judgment, and it is very normal as a human being to really protect yourself from such kind of judgments, because you want to hold yourself as this dignified person. So you don't want, maybe at the moment you're excelling, you're doing well at work, and you know, you are receiving a lot of accolades. But now there's this project, when you push it out, it receives negative judgment or criticism. So whatever you had, when you had placed yourself on this level, and whatever you push out maybe takes you a bit down, then people don't want those kind of changes. So you tell yourself, instead of me trying something new, let me just continue doing what I'm doing because it's already okay and I'm good. People have already... If it's
not bad, then don't change it.
Don't change it. Yeah, but you see, now you're not stepping to what you call a growth zone, which is experience when you're trying something new. Yeah. So if you don't allow yourself to try new things, then you're missing out. Like for example, for me, I would have maybe decided not to come here because it's the first thing. But I'm a coach. I understand that the moment you're called to do something new, it is, you're being pushed to a growth zone. So you take advantage and you go for it. Yeah.
Let me talk about being too cautious, because we are, in most cases, we are very cautious. Just like you say, it's something new, you don't want to do it. All this caution, should we to some extent just say, enough with the caution, let me try the murky waters, put my foot down, you know, to see how deep this is, and then when it comes back to you probably in a negative way, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, first of all, we need to understand that as caution means it's good to be cautious, but also caution means you want to have your life to be certain. And one of the need of a human being is that we need life to be uncertain. Sometimes you just have to go for these things and you find out, okay, what is going to happen? Because can you imagine if you stop yourself because you're being cautious and you're limiting yourself so much, and what would have propelled you to the next level? Like for example, there's this story of Michael Jordan. When he started basketball, he was not really good, but he did not stop. He was not cautious. He continued practicing, he continued exposing himself until he became one of course, the best basketballer we had of our time. So yes, there's caution, but don't let it limit yourself. Just push out. I want people to push out. Go and try new things. Because really sometimes it depends. You see, when you've started maybe a particular career and another opportunity has come on your way, but they're not related. Because if you have a fixed mind, you'll tell yourself, no, I can't do this because I'm so used to this. But human beings, we have a potential, a big potential, even to step into something and we become successful and competent at it.
Let's talk now at dealing with the issue of self-esteem. If now you've identified and say, this is exactly, when I look at this, probably I'm being timid. I'm very, very careful about trying new projects and getting out there and expressing myself. I'm dealing with the issues of self-esteem. Now I want to start, to boost my self-esteem and be confident and all that, what do I do?
First of all, how do you build your self-esteem? It starts with self-awareness. You really have to know who you are. And most of us, we define ourselves by what we do, what we have, yeah, and even we define ourselves around our families. So we take it as our identity. But that's not really who you are. Who you are is everything apart from all those titles. Everything about you, Brian, minus this job.
Okay.
Everything about me minus my job as a life coach. So you have to tap into our virtues. Are you a kind person?
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so that's totally away from what I do.
Yes.
But what I do most of the time describe who I am. Am I using the wrong description to actually say this is Brian Amwai?
Yes.
Okay.
That's not who you are. That's what you do. Who you are is the virtues. Like, are you a kind person? Or even, can you become more kind? Are you a generous person? Are you a person who has, you know, you always want to have a positive impact towards people? Because those things, they can never be taken away from you. So you'll have that stable kind of confidence or self-esteem, because those are things that are internal. Those are things that you can grow with. Even if you don't have money, you can still be kind.
Okay.
Yeah, even if you don't have a job, you can still be kind. Even if you don't have a spouse, you can still be kind.
Okay.
So we need to identify ourselves from that perspective. I'm talking from a personal experience, because there's a time I lost my job. I didn't have even a business to run, because even it closed down. So I was left with Sianto. Who is this Sianto without these big titles? I used to work in the banking industry, senior titles. I used to have a business. It closed down. So when they were taken away from me, I had to look around, who is Sianto? What can I do with her? So that's when now I started this journey of really finding who am I without anything attached to me. And once you tap into that, you get total holistic confidence and self-esteem within you that nobody can take it away. Yeah. So that is the first way of doing it. Yeah.
Who is Brian Amwai?
Yes. Who
That's
are
a question
you?
I'm supposed to be asking myself and coming. Take me through the process of doing that and just trying to identify who I am away from everything that I do. Because personally, I'll speak from me as a person, and I believe quite a number of people could actually relate. What defines us is what we do. When somebody asks you, who are you? My name is Brian Amwai. I'm a journalist. I love reading. But the issue, what you are pointing out that is away from what we do, we don't use that to describe who we are.
Yeah. And that's why when I started, I said, I love God. I love people. I want to be more kind. I want to be more compassionate. So that's what defines who someone is, your virtues. So it's just about being positive. You're having a positive impact towards people. And then that is now the first way of working towards attaining self-confidence, self-awareness, who you are. The second part is self-acceptance. So you've identified this is who Brian is. So you have to accept yourself just the way you are right now, as your current self. Maybe I'm not very kind now, but I can work towards
being kind.
Being kind. That's how we build it. So you first accept where you are, the levels that you are. There are tools that we normally take our clients through so that you discover the process. Yeah. So you say, okay, I'm not really very compassionate, but I can start.
So these are things I can change.
Absolutely, you can change.
So you are aware of the things that you're not.
Yes.
You've accepted that.
Yes.
But now you're moving towards making a difference and just changing that. If you are not kind, then you can actually be kind.
Yes.
And this is exactly what I want to do.
Yes. Right. And sometimes people say, if you say that I accept myself, you don't have any window for growth. No, we are saying before even you can grow, you first have to know where you are, so that you can be able to say, I want to reach there. So how do I reach there? That ideal self. So you say, okay, I can practice doing A, B, C, D. Yeah, maybe instead of being arrogant to someone, I'll start being
Kind.
a bit kind.
Yeah.
You see? So you measure yourself where you are now and where you want to be, and then you work towards that.
Important.
That is self-acceptance.
Self-acceptance. All right, now we want to take a short break here on the program. Don't go too far. We are coming back with this conversation on self-confidence. We just talked about, self-esteem and boosting that, how to identify that you actually have low self-esteem. When we come back, we'll be finishing up on that and also touching on self-efficacy. I'll be telling you more about that when we come back. Don't go too far. Engage us on our socials. At Amoy Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. The hashtag to use this morning is the morning drift.
Yeah.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Leo kwa mara ya kwanza, mpenzi mtazamaji, tuko Githogoro Village ambapo mwanabiashara Carol anatekeleza kazi yake ya uzaji wa mawe.
All right, now we didn't take that long a break, right? Did we? We still sync to this particular conversation here on the program, The Morning Drift. Like I said, engage us on our socials, at Amoy Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. We are also live on Facebook, where you can send your feedback there, and we'll be able to sample some of it. Tell us, do you deal with the issue of self-confidence? And do you need to build your self-esteem? What are some of the issues or triggers that you've looked at and say, by the way, I deal with this particular issue? Send your questions here. We'll be able to put them across to our guest in studios, Sianto, who is a life coach, and she'll be able to try and address some of them, right, as we continue the conversation here on The Morning Drift. Now, before we went for a break, we're just talking about self-confidence and self-esteem, and how to identify the triggers and say, this is the issue that I have when it comes to matter self-esteem, and this is exactly probably how I could be able to build. And behind the scenes, you were talking about, and I think we should stress on this particular issue, where how do you describe yourself? And I just want us to look at some of the values that people could actually say, apart from, you know, on top of being kind and all that, that you could actually sit down and start reflecting and say, now these are the things that need to start, you know, defining who I am. And also the process of doing that? How do we sit down and start assessing ourselves and coming to that realization, by the way, I have more than just reading news?
Yeah, that's very true. When we identify ourselves with the titles, actually we normally limit who we are as a human being. As I told you, we need to look at those virtues. Kind, compassionate, generous person. You also look at your values, like what is important to you. I'm a person of integrity. Yeah, you also can define, describe who you are by also talking about your strengths. You know, I'm an assertive person. I'm result-oriented. So those are things that are still going to stick with you, even if you lose all these things that are around you. You no longer get the confidence from them. Because what normally happens is that you find that people get confidence from material things. Like you drive a good car so that someone validates you and it fills your confidence at that particular time. But the next time you're meeting that person, they would still tell you your car is nice. They had already told you. So what will happen to your confidence today?
You need to buy another one bigger than that.
It's not sustainable. So that's why we're looking at something that is a bit deep. Something that is sustainable, something that will always be there, regardless of what is happening around you. So that people, when those things are out, you no longer have them, you don't go into depression. As much as it's going to be difficult, but you'll not go to rock bottom. You'll still be able to hold yourself in high value. You still be able to say that I matter, that I deserve to be respected. Yes.
Let me talk about, because in most cases we're talking about this from a perspective where somebody already has a career and they're using that to define themselves. And I understand, or if correct me if I'm wrong, this then when we are young, when we are growing up, then we don't get to define ourselves properly. If at all we are going to get into our 20s, get into a career, then start using our careers to get to define us. We are being defined by what we do. How do we nurture somebody who is down there, not yet in the industry, in any industry, to start now defining themselves by their values, so that when they even get to a career, they still have that, so that they don't start struggling, trying to identify away from this, who exactly am I?
That's a very good question. Because if you look at self-esteem, it's affected just from the beginning when we are children. What are the people who are around us? What are they telling us? What words are they speaking to us? So as parents or as guardians, we should always be able to talk to your children like you're a lovely person, you're a kind person. You speak these words to them. So you don't attach external factors to their importance, because they'll keep on, it's not bad to go after those things, but if they don't get them, then they'll feel like they're failures. So you have to be able, we have to be able to nurture them in a way that, yes, these external factors, they are good, but even if I don't have them, I still be able to stand as a human being and be independent and go to the next session or next step of my life.
So it is important to speak to them from a young age. And just, do we call it affirmation or what? Like
for me, my children, before they sleep, I whisper to them in the ear, like when they're just in that zone, they are just about to sleep, you're a great person, you are lovely, you're kind, you're a leader. You know, I speak these words to them. So that it goes to their subconscious mind. So when they grow up being very stable, young ones. They grow up knowing that I'm valuable, such that when these other things come, they're just additions, which are good. They should still go after them, but it's not what defines who they are as human beings.
So in most cases, it is done wrong. A lot of parents do get it wrong to some extent in how they speak to their child, because if you ask a lot of people, they become so afraid of their parents because their parents have put success as a measure of who they are. Like if you don't score an A, then you are a useless human being. If you don't get into this career, if you don't choose a career that is in line with the, medicine, law, and all that, then you are a failure and things like that. So you come back from school. It is important to, have good grades, but when you come back from school, that is the most important thing than, that is going to help define who you are. Oh, he's a clever child. This one is getting a struggle. How do we then make parents get it right? Because I believe if somebody spoke to me and whispered to me, I'm a leader, Right now, I'll be the Senator of Nairobi.
You can still be that leader. You see, now it starts with self-awareness with the parents. They have to know that what you tell your children is very important. Yes, it's good to tell them, get good grades. But sometimes we find that maybe they'll go and get a B, but it doesn't mean that they're not valuable because they got a B.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that the person who got an A is more valuable than the person who got a C. No, no, no. All of them, we are all human beings. Yeah. So that is where we are supposed to start with, the feeling part of it. But now also there's the ability part of it. Now you're talking about grades. But also we look also at the ability as a human being. Like, for example, if you are employed or if you have a business, if you have low self-efficacy, the one that you don't believe in your abilities, when you find a challenge, then you don't proceed with the task. You tell yourself, no, this one I cannot do it. Just because you found a challenge, you stop it. But what we don't know is that every task, even if you are talented, at the beginning it will feel hard, it will be difficult. But it doesn't mean that you're not able. Like Brian, for you, when you started your first show, I don't know if you can recall it. How was it? Is it the same as now?
No, it's not. Totally.
Is it? But what happened? You pushed forward.
I did.
Yeah.
I remember I was sitting on this particular spot here.
Yes.
It was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
We were doing World Population Day or something like that. And it was baptism by fire to some extent.
Yes.
So I just sat here and I dared myself to some extent. I dared myself because that was the first one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, am I going to do it
Yes.
properly, or what exactly is going to happen? But yeah, it went quite not bad.
Yes.
It went quite not bad. It was okay. I said it was okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see, now for you, you pushed on. So there are people who, after the first encounter, they stop. They don't proceed. They say, that one, I'm not able to do it. But look at you, you're a good anchor.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
That is gassing me up.
No,
Building
it's
my
good. It's good. No,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. All right, now let me get to you as a parent, because you
Yeah.
say this is exactly how you speak to your kids, and you know, sometimes you whisper to them before they go to sleep, just to make them feel good about themselves and also have something to define themselves. Doing that, when you look at the progress, how have you been, do you see it make a difference in their lives and exactly how they carry themselves around?
Yes, I can see. I have my firstborn is 7 years old, and I've been doing it for such a long time. And you can see confidence in him. And also there's a lot of independence. Yeah, so he can speak in front of people. He's very young. Yeah, and maybe when you have a session with the kids, maybe when they've come over for a birthday, he'll stand up and, you know, guide the rest. This is what we are supposed to do. So really, you make them to become confident because they already believe in themselves. So it works.
Damn.
It works.
So the leader aspect of it that you normally tell him when he's going to sleep, you are a leader, he actually gets to now understand that, hey, I'm a leader, I can lead.
Yes.
And when I'm among my peers, this is exactly how I'm supposed to carry myself.
Yes, and also we practice. You know, there's also speaking and the doing. That's what I spoke about, self-confidence. There's a feeling and there's the ability part of it. So for him, yes, I speak those words to him, but also when he has to, for example, he has a project in school, or maybe it's a Sunday school they've listened to, because that's what we do we used to do during COVID. They just attend Sunday school online. After they finish, my husband and I, we sit down and he presents. What have you learned? So I'm teaching him how to be a good, a confident public speaker.
Wow.
So you combine the feeling through words and the actual practice. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Do you speak to your mates and tell them this is exactly how you're supposed to be raising your kids?
Yes, but you see, sometimes someone has to solicit for such kind of advice. Sometimes, you know, when someone needs it, yes, I'm ready to offer.
Okay.
Yeah, but people, you know, families also, they have different dynamics. There are people, maybe they would not see that as important. So I only maybe deal with those ones who really want their children to be confident, or even them as parents to be confident and go after their dreams.
Okay. Just back to you before we go to self-efficacy. Why was it important for you to actually do this? What did you look at and say, this is exactly how I'm supposed to be raising my child in terms of confidence, self-esteem and all that?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question because it goes back to my childhood.
Okay.
I've always been that child who is I'm a go-getter. Yeah, and even that's why when I was in the corporate world, I performed very well. But internally, I always felt like there's something missing about me. I was a people pleaser at work. Yeah, I was that person who was not able to raise raise my hand and express my opinion because I felt like I don't deserve to be there. Other people are better than me. So if you look back, is how you are raised, yeah, childhood experiences. Maybe you are just told one thing by your parent and it really shut you down completely. It shuts you as a human being or as a child. And those things, they manifest later when you are an adult. Yeah, where now you're in an office setting, you're supposed to really speak up, you're supposed to be a leader, but you are not able to. Not because you're not qualified, it's just that you have those kind of previous experiences that you went through that are affecting you. So for me, I always knew there's something wrong with me. As much as I was excelling, I was getting even trips of being paid for me to go to, you know, because I've been a good performer. But internally, I could not even speak in front of people. Even for me to be here, I know something has changed within me. So the people who knew me before, I'm sure when they see me now, they'll be very surprised. What happened? What happened to her? It is my story. So I understand very well how someone feels when your self-esteem is low, when it has been injured, and I know how to get you out of it because I've managed to do it. So I'm able to help people. And the other thing is that you also pick it in the environment, the schools that you go to, the companies that you go to. You might go to a company and probably a boss will just speak a word to you and it enters your subconscious mind and it affects how you feel about yourself. I remember for me, before I got my letter, it took such a long time. Letter of appointment, because at that time I used to study, I was doing both work and school. So I was not able to deliver very well when it came to work. So it delayed me getting the contract. So it affected how I felt like, you mean I'm different from the rest? I'm not able? But it was very surprising because when I stepped into another role, I was actually the best. So it is refusing to let even people define you. Don't allow people to put you in a certain box. Yeah. So people are normally limited also by what other people think about you. Or people who used to know you way back, yeah, you still want to be in that box. But people grow. Yeah, and we should be able to let people to grow, such that maybe you're friends with people 10 years ago and you find them now, Brian is here. You should be happy, like, oh my God, he has grown. Don't say that Brian cannot qualify to be an anchor. No, you've worked hard and now here you are. I have. Yes. That's the mentality.
Let me speak to this conversation is getting more interesting as we continue. Probably in a newsroom setup or in just any organization that you have an intern somewhere, somebody who's come for internship and they're hoping probably at the end of the day they're going to get a job, but that normally doesn't work out that way. And if they don't, then they start feeling that, you know, maybe the question that you ask, am I different from the rest? What do you tell that kind of person where they feel like, I'm giving it my all, why am I not being recognized in this particular way or something like that?
Now, it is first of all understanding of the corporate world, how it is. So it's also self-awareness that really you have to be someone who is of excellence. So sometimes it's just that you've not really worked hard to reach there. But it doesn't mean that, yes, you've not gotten that appointment or you've not gotten that job, that now your life is done. Or that will be the category of person of a non-performer for the rest of your life. So maybe they are 21-year-olds and they've not gotten that job they're looking for. They have like 60 years to try other things and they become so good. So the thing is, don't stop. Go to the next opportunity. That's what I mean. That's what I believe in. That's what I tell my clients. Go to the next opportunity. You never know that maybe this one was not really for you. This one, you go to this other opportunity and you excel.
Okay.
So yes, it feels bad, but pick yourself up. That's what we call having high self-efficacy, whereby you say it is your responsibility to be able to pick yourself up and move to the next thing that is available for you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now let me get to probably we're talking about us and just making sure, but now the environment that you are in terms of even the corporate world.
Yes.
What role can it play in making sure that, by the way, these are my employees, these are the people that work for this organization, this is exactly how we can boost their confidence in, you know, 1, 2, or 3 things so that they can actually be good performance and give it their all in terms of delivery.
Yes. For me, if I was a leader in those corporate organizations, first of all, I would have sessions with my, with my employees, whereby they have to be taken through about self-awareness. You have, that one is key. You know, once your employees know themselves, they know their strengths, that is already a motivation. You're opening their eyes. They can deliver for you more. That's number one. Of course, you have to reward them. Yeah, if someone has excelled, then reward that person.
So small sessions where you can actually say, but this one performed this best this month, this exactly, to motivate them.
Yes, competition is good. And also, you know, now when you get rewarded and the other person doesn't get rewarded, it's not bad. You pull up your socks.
Yeah, next time you are hoping to be there.
Yes, yes.
And at the same time, it's actually helping you to actually do better.
Yes.
Because you're not just doing it for the company. Yes, you want that kind of reward, but also building yourself in the process of making sure by the I can actually get this.
Yes, yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, listen, we are running out of time.
Okay.
I want us to get to the self-efficacy. Let's get an understanding of what that is before we get into how we measure that.
Okay. Self-efficacy is about how strongly do you believe in your abilities? How do you deal with challenges or obstacles that you face on your way? So it is that simple. It is normally different with self-esteem. Self-esteem is a feeling. Efficacy now is a doing. Do you believe in your capabilities?
Okay.
In your abilities as an anchor? Do you think you are well able
to have a conversation.
To have a conversation and do it well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So how do we measure that then in terms of the efficacy itself? How do we measure? How do we identify by these are some of their abilities, and I also just want to believe in myself and deliver.
Yeah. Yeah. So self-efficacy, normally for you to be able to look at it well, you look at an individual, like for example myself and Brian. So someone who has high self-efficacy, if Brian, you started this work, after the first trial, you saw that it was hard, it was very challenging, you stopped.
Okay.
That would have been low self-efficacy. But because you pushed yourself, you continued practicing, and now here you are. So it means that you had high self-efficacy, unknowingly, but you had. Another person would not even have ever tried, but for you, you tried and you pushed on. The other thing, how you look at it is, do you complete tasks? You find that people who have low self-efficacy, it's hard for them to push out their stuff out. It's hard for them to complete a task. Yeah. So they always have so many projects pending, they're not completing.
You should look at my to-do list.
Yes.
I keep writing a to-do list, and I'm like, I didn't finish this yesterday, so let me put it to tomorrow. And in most cases, I only end up ticking a thing of 2 or 3. But when I finish that particular task, to some extent, it makes me feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I did complete this at least.
Yeah.
But that pushing, why do we always have to push it? How do we avoid pushing it forward?
That's a very good question, because most of us, we think that the motivation will always be there every day. Even if you're working and you love your job, there are times when really your motivation is low. So you have to push yourself. Actually, the push has to be there. You have to, what I normally tell my clients to do, tell yourself, sit down and do something. Even lie to your brain, I'm going to work for 2 minutes. It works. It has been proven by science. You tell yourself, let me just work for 2 minutes. So you start 2 minutes, and you'll see like you'll just continue and you'll finish whatever you wanted to do.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to push yourself. Once you push yourself and you finish that task, then you'll feel good and there'll be completion. Normally, when you complete something, then there's success. That success gives you motivation to try again next time. Yeah, so you just, there is no shortcut. Motivation will be there, yes. If it's not there, then you have to push yourself. Yeah, and look for the completion. And also, what I tell my clients is that when you set up a goal, look at the rewards. Make it stronger than the pain that you have to go through. Yes.
So we have to put a reward to the goal that we want to achieve?
Yes. You have to put a reward. Like, for example, if you, let's say you're working, maybe the reward is that people are going to hear very inspiring stories, and it's going to have an impact on someone. That is a good reward that will make you to sit there and talk, or even monetary. Yeah. So I'm doing this because there'll be money coming in. Or, for example, if you're dieting, I'm dieting because I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be here for long. So you have to put a reward that is stronger than the pain, because doing things is not easy. The pain has to be there. Yes.
Now, you're talking about the goal, and I'm thinking of, there's so many times I've said I want to go for a morning run, but I'm always looking at, why would I leave my bed and wake up in the morning to go run? So when it comes to things like this, what reward do you put there and say, by the way, at the end of the day, this is exactly what I'm going to achieve? Do I gift myself, or I look at what I'm going to gain? Yeah.
So the way we look at it, you look at it from a point of compounding effect. Like, for example, on your investment, when you're investing money, you're putting 200 bob today, but you know after 3 years it's going to be, it's going to grow. You are sure. So that is what I tell my clients. It's going to be hard today to run, but you know, you are not even going to see, when you run today, you're not going to see that the fat has gone today, but something has happened. There's that compounding effect. Something is accumulating and building up slowly, and you're going to become healthy. If maybe your cholesterol levels were high, it's going to reduce.
So all these things then wrap up what we call the self-confidence. Now, when you deal with the self-esteem and self-efficacy, now we have the self-confidence.
Yes.
So when somebody looks at you, how can they be able to say, now this one has a high self-esteem and low efficacy, or we'll just compound it into saying, this is self-confidence or something like that?
Sometimes it's when I can be specific. Let me talk about public speaking. When someone is speaking in front of people, you know, that physiological responses that happens. When someone totally shuts down, then we can say, there are those ones you can say that really this is an issue of self-esteem. Or when someone talks to you and they're always they always evaluate themselves in a negative way. That I can't do it, I can't, this is not for me, no, she's better than me, then I'll know there is an issue here. So there are those ones that I can hear, I can see, and there are those other ones when you look at someone, like what they do. Do they have so many projects that they start and they stop? They start and they stop. And also as an individual, you feel like if it's a new task, there's that imposter syndrome that you feel.
You feel like I don't belong here.
Yeah, I'm not able to do this. So that's also another sign of self-efficacy, that you have a new task, but you feel like this is not for me. You feel like a fraud. You feel like you're actually cheating people. Yes.
We can run away from that, though.
Yes, absolutely.
How do I run away from that?
From the imposter syndrome. First of all, we need self-awareness is key. We need to understand that when you're starting a new task, those things will be there. It doesn't mean that you're not competent. It is a normal reaction. It is a normal thought. Like, for example, maybe you are new at work, you've been given a certain role, you feel like you're not able. You feel like you're a fraud. But when you keep on working, you keep on building your skills, then your self-efficacy is building, you start feeling confident. So it depends on where you are. And self-confidence is actually contextual.
Now, Sianto Kekayaya. Yes. How do we find this? Somebody needs to speak to you and, have them, you know, life coach. People go through a lot.
Yes.
And people will need some help.
Yes.
When somebody needs to get to you, how do they get to you?
Yeah, they can get me on my contact, 0703 478 426, or my website, www.betterhumanslifecoaching.com.
Betterhumanslifecoaching.com.
Yes, I help individuals really to just feel powerful. I make my people to be able to create the life that they want, and to know that really they can, and everything is within them, and to just move away from any type of fear that is holding them from, you know, living their full potential.
All right.
Yes.
Yes, we can. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely.
We've come to the end of the conversation here on The Morning Dew. Thank you so much for keeping us company for the past 57 minutes. It's been an awesome conversation. I believe right now, you've been able to catch a thing or two when it comes to matter self-confidence, building your self-esteem, self-awareness, and also self-efficacy. Now you combine that, it's self-confidence. How do you stand out as a confident human being? And when you're feeling low, how do you gas yourself up and, you know, feel confident again and go through whatever project? You know, we say that you shouldn't actually procrastinate. You know, come back and reflect and assess yourself and go with it, because it is you. And also, something important that we talked about on this show, it is actually getting to define yourself. How do you define yourself? Because in most cases, we say we define ourselves by what we do and not exactly who we are and what we want to achieve, right? My name is Brian Amwai. Thank you so much for your time. Let's do this again next time. So Elijah Charles Kiage will be coming up in a few with Lookup Business. Don't go too far. Thank you. Thank you so much.
For all your football, F1 and World Cup kits, Carrington Sportswear Hub is your plug for quality, sporty merchandise. Call us on 0703 484 481.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Hapa kazi tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about kufurahisha the customer.
mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni hapa kazi tu.
Hi there, my name is George Washuri. I am so happy to see you, and today I am here to enumerate, to explain how we package our land investment. We have 5 levels of our property, and we classify these levels as 1 star, 2 stars, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. This is what we mean, that if you buy a property that is 1 star with Lookuptv, one of the things that is evident, the property is cheaper, is below $500,000. And this particular property is basically bare land. We only do subdivision, put the beacons, and then produce titles. The second level, we call it 2 star. This is prime land, whereby we grade the roads, we put a marking fence, do the beacons, and produce titles. The third level, we call it 3 stars. This 3 star is value added plots. We do the malam, we do the water, we do the mesh fence, and there's a caretaker.